What's up, YouTube? What's up, family? Guys, welcome back to another reaction video. Season's greetings to each and every one of you. Guys, thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. My name is Dwight. For those of you who don't know, it's a great pleasure to have you here. So, guys, if you're new to the channel, I welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. All right, guys, so today's the start of a beautiful day. I'm fine and dandy. Thank you for your continued support. I was down and out, but now I'm back. All right, so today we're going to be diving into, let me get this up on the screen, why Poland is finally becoming a rich country. Beautiful. All right, so I'm excited to, see how that one goes. Why is Poland becoming a rich country? To me, like, um, well, what I've seen for the past few days, like Poland is a rich country. So, guys, please sit back, relax, grab some hot cocoa, and let's dive into that with me. Let me know if there's anything that was left out. All right, please feel free to leave your suggestions, engage with the audience because that's what we're all about on the channel. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for friends and your families. So, without any further ado, let's dive right in.
Poland is on the brink of becoming a superpower. When the Soviet Union fell in 1990, Poland was considered to be a write-off, having been one of Europe's poorest countries for the last century.
Oh,
Its position in Central Europe between Germany, Russia, and other European powers has unfortunately meant that it has been invaded numerous times, costing thousands of lives and significantly halting its progress. But this has all started to change. In the last 30 years, Poland's economy has grown more than tenfold, more than any other country in Europe. In this period, Poland has never had a recession. Whilst other countries fell in the 2008 financial crash, Poland just kept growing. This gives it the best track record of any country in Europe, and nearly the whole world. Its citizens, once some of Europe's poorest, are estimated by some measures to become richer than those in the UK as soon as 2030. Poland's economy is not the only thing that's been growing. Keen to avoid any repeats of history, the country has spent the last 2 decades building its military, and it now has the largest army in the European Union.
I did a reaction to that already. They're going to have the biggest, man, the biggest military, man. Nice. All right, so let's continue watching.
After joining NATO in 1999, it has been one of the few members to consistently meet and go beyond its defense spending requirements of 2%. Spending increased again in 2014 and 2022, following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Poland proportionally is the biggest spender in NATO at 3.9% of GDP, the figure which is set to get even bigger.
Wow.
With a booming economy and a strong military. For many years, Poland was a bitterly poor nation. Its location in the heart of Central Europe has dictated much of its modern history, having been invaded multiple times by neighbouring powers Russia, Prussia, and Austria. By the end of the 18th century, Poland had been completely partitioned, disappearing from the map of Europe, only to re-emerge as an independent country after World War I in 1918. It remained a largely agrarian-based economy, relying on livestock and crop production. Despite several attempts to modernise, by the 1930s, Poland's economy remained underdeveloped compared to other European powers, making it extremely vulnerable and a large contributor to its rapid defeat in the early stages of World War II, thus beginning a 50-year period of occupation. Following the end of World War II, the country was in tatters, having served as a battleground for German and Russian forces. Poland now found itself absorbed within the Soviet Eastern Bloc, becoming a satellite state. In the 40 years that followed, similar to other satellite states, Poland was essentially used to service the Soviet Union, and its economy reflected this. Poland was run as a command economy, where the government controlled everything that was produced, as well as its price and its level of output. Independent businesses were pretty much non-existent, and the Polish leaders ran the economy based on whatever the Soviet Union leadership told it to do.
Okay.
This period was defined by deep isolationist policies, stagnation, and generally a poor quality of life for its citizens. Focus was placed on heavy industry to fuel the growth of the Soviet Union's many different aims. In Poland, some of its largest industries were in steel manufacturing and coal production. Whilst these produced some growth for the country, they often came at the expense of consumer goods. The demands of the population had very little influence over what was produced. This meant that items that were commonplace in the West, like refrigerators or televisions, were deemed to be a luxury in Poland. And people had incredibly limited access to items which could improve their circumstances. Cars were often subject to multiple year-long waiting lists, and there were often shortages of many basic food items, which sometimes had to be rationed. Throughout the 1980s, like many other satellite states, resistance against the Soviet occupation was growing, and when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1989, Poland was in a similar position to many of these other nations. The country had been mismanaged for well over 40 years and was in desperate need of change. Many basic goods were hard to come by, and around 20% of the population were living in poverty. The collapse of a regime as large as the Soviet Union's created a lot of opportunity for many countries to now thrive. Whilst they had been poorly run for the best part of half a century, key industries had been established which would lay the foundations for economic prosperity. 1989 is where things start to change for Poland, off the back of some radical but effective policies by this man here. This is Leszek Belczerowicz. He was the head of finance in the first non-Soviet government and sought to transform Poland using the Belczerowicz Plan, a series of radical economic reforms labelled as shock therapy. You may recognise this term as it's what Javier Milei in Argentina labelled his own set of radical economic reforms, and it's been used in other countries across the world with mixed results. In Poland, its main aims were simple: to change its economy from being state-controlled to a market-oriented economy. Keeping in line with the shock therapy, many large economic changes were made very quickly. Subsidies which had been provided for years to inefficient and costly industries like shipbuilding and mining were removed almost overnight, as were price controls on many products, which had kept goods artificially cheap. This sent the price of many basic goods spiralling, and the initial effect of this was brutal. The removal of subsidies meant that many state-run industries could no longer afford to employ their large workforce, and lots of people quickly lost their jobs. In the years following these reforms, unemployment spiked. Alongside this, people's day-to-day cost of basic items had also massively increased. In the 2 years that followed, Poland experienced a brief but severe period of hyperinflation. Coal used to heat homes was now 600% more expensive, and electricity 400% more than before, set up to produce a wide variety of goods and services that consumers wanted. Poland's economic boom also coincided nicely with the country's favourable demographics. In 1990, most of Poland's population were either already in the workforce or were due to come into the workforce in the next 10 years. Its large and cheap workforce, alongside its economic liberalisation to become a more efficient economy, made it the perfect destination for foreign direct investment. These flows quickly rose to around 5% of Poland's GDP by the end of the 1990s. Many companies, ranging from auto manufacturing to American tech giants, moved their operations to Poland to take advantage of its workforce.
Just 1 second, guys. I want to pause this here real quick. I want to bring this back to yes. You can see how the foreign direct investments, the percentage of the GDP from 1990, guys, look at how high that have gone. It went down, went back up, went down in, say, like 2013, and gone back up, and it's up until now, and it's even going higher. Amazing, amazing. All right, so let's continue watching.
At the end of the 1990s, many companies, ranging from auto manufacturing to American tech giants, moved their operations to Poland to take advantage of its workforce. This allowed Poland to continue growing at a fast pace throughout the 1990s and early 2000s. And membership of the EU in 2004 further boosted Poland's growth. At the time, it was one of the EU's poorest members. Poland became the beneficiary of a flood of EU structural funds, in some sense the equivalent of the post-war reconstruction money that it had missed out on because of the
Yeah.
onset of the Cold War. Access to the EU single market also vastly improved Poland's trading opportunities. As a result of this growth and EU membership, GDP at purchasing power parity is now 80% of the EU average, compared to just 39% in 1990.
Wow.
Following this miracle period of economic growth, investment from foreign companies has continued to be a crucial source of growth for Poland, employing thousands of workers in key industries. But in many ways, this is a double-edged sword. The role of foreign investment has undoubtedly provided benefit by creating jobs and contributing to the skill development necessary for growth. However, Poland's booming economy has led many to believe it will fall victim to a problem known as the middle income trap. This is a situation where Poland's economy has become the beneficiary of lots of investment due to its large, cheap labour force. But as its economies continue to grow, workers will be paid more and more, gradually eroding its price competitive labour advantage and therefore making it a less attractive place to invest. For Poland, this becomes an issue. 40% of Polish industries are owned by foreigners, and it has not yet established many major companies domestically which can provide the same level of employment and development opportunities as multinationals. Thus, it will be caught in the middle income status, as it's heavily reliant on relatively cheap labour to keep up the flows of foreign investment. It still remains unclear how Poland will continue from this point. On the one hand, it doesn't have many large domestic companies to provide growth. But on the other hand, Poland has developed an increasingly educated workforce, serving as a hub for engineering graduates, whilst also being one of the hardest working countries within Europe, with levels of productivity higher than France, Germany, and even the United States. Economic theory would suggest that over time, this would lead to the development of more Polish-owned businesses to propel the country forward, but this is something which is still not fully materialised.
Okay.
Either way, foreign investment is still likely to keep flowing to Poland for many years to come, both due to its increasing trend of nearshoring and its extremely productive workforce.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Poland has not been solely focused on its economy, and has also committed large amounts of money to quickly build its military, pushing it towards superpower status. Since joining NATO in 1999, Poland has prioritised strengthening its military capabilities, modernising its armed forces and forming strategic alliances with the United States and South Korea for arms provisions, purchasing supplies of tanks, fighter jets, and other advanced military equipment hand over fist. This isn't just blind paranoia, and Poland has good reason to be concerned. Given its central location and its previous history, the country is more aware than most of the threat of foreign military movements. Poland has consistently been one of the highest military, whilst new technology centres and jobs are being created every year within Poland. These are usually funded by large multinational corporations from abroad. Low spending on research and development, around 1.5%, has meant that very few large Polish companies exist, and the nation is still reliant on these foreign giants as sources of employment. A highly educated workforce like Poland's would suggest that over time more and more companies would be founded, creating jobs and domestic growth, but this still isn't the case. Only one company in the Fortune 500 is Polish, compared to 30 German companies and 18 British ones.
Wow.
This is an issue which will only get worse for Poland, and they become more and more reliant on foreign investment to drive their growth. This is further made worse as Poland has one of the lowest saving rates in the European Union. This is an issue as household saving is one of the primary drivers of domestic investment and capital development. Higher levels of saving often leads to higher levels of domestic investment, which would mean that Poland can become less reliant on foreign capital to plug this mismatch. Poland's path to becoming a true economic superpower, while certainly in a better position than it was 30 years ago, still faces a number of challenges. Its ability to develop domestic growth and push past the status of a middle-income nation will perhaps be the most important factor in determining its success. But the threat of Russian aggression from the east, as well as its own domestic political troubles, could also spell challenges for the country. If you've liked this video and would like to watch more, then make sure to check out our videos on other European economies, like France, the UK, Ireland, and many more.
I've just heard from the Invisible Hand. Thank you very much for this documentary. I just got to know a lot more, about where Poland was before and to where they're headed now. So that's amazing. I enjoyed that video, and guys, I will definitely be looking out for more. So stick around to what I got coming up next. Guys, I'll be back with some more. All right, so feel free to leave your suggestions, engage with the audience, because guys, we're all about that on the channel. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and your families. I'm gonna leave the original link down in my description, so you guys can go take a look. Feel free. All right, stay safe out there. Continue sharing the love, and I'll be back. I'll see you again. Stick around. All right, I love y'all. Peace out. Till next time.